Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dave, and I'm from Tomball, Texas, and this is the fifth episode of my series about renewable energy and electric vehicles and everything kind of related to all that. And anyway, so kind of today I wanted to talk just a little bit about, well, maybe more than just a little bit, but about solar energy and solar panels and how that affects me and how it affects you. And so anyway, you might see behind me a couple of solar panels, and that's kind of the extent of my solar panels so far. I plan to go a lot bigger, get a lot more energy from the sun, and someday maybe power my own house. But anyway, right now I'm only powering my garage and a little bit of my kitchen and things like that because I don't have a big panel. But what you see there, if you look at the farthest panel over, you'll see a 150 watt solar panel. It's monocrystalline. No, it's not monocrystalline. It's polycrystalline. Sorry about that. Polycrystalline, and it does a fairly good job. It does a real good job. And then the other kind of little group of three, those came out of a Harbor Freight. And you may ask yourself, well, what has all this stuff got to do with electric vehicles and things like that? Well, let me tell you, okay? Real quick, I started studying this stuff about 2.5 years ago, and kind of started studying a whole lot of things together at the same time. But energy-wise, I started studying and watching a lot of YouTube videos about electric vehicles and solar panels. And the reason I started studying solar panels is because it's a well-known scientific fact, even though some people in the upper echelon of government don't really believe in it. But oil and gas that's being used by our vehicles, our cars, our trucks, and things like that, kind of polluting our air, and they're killing us. They're killing our world, and they're killing you and me. And I kind of touched on this a little bit in my intro video, but it's a fact. And if you've ever been out to Los Angeles, you'll know what I mean. Smog. Polluted air. If you go to any big city, you can see evidence of pollution. Anyway, so I don't want to get into that too much, but so I started saying, well, hey, how can I do this? How can I start helping, doing my part to help cut down on pollution? And the one way that I can start is by getting solar panels. And I was going to put solar panels on the roof of my house and power my whole house, but I ran into an obstacle. And so I decided to do it a different way. And the different way is build it out in the back of the yard and slowly build up until I can, power more and more things. And anyway, so I have here a combined total of 195 watts of panels, which feed into my garage and supply my batteries with energy. And from those batteries, I can power lights in my kitchen, not big lights right now. I haven't even tried big lights. I've just been doing a small light, but I can do it. I can power my 55-inch LED TV by Samsung and run it. Now, the most I've ever run it is 5 hours, but I can do it, and it's not a problem. It doesn't put a real drain on my small supply of energy. Also, for the last 2.5 years, my washing machine has only used energy from the sun. I haven't used any power from the grid to run my washing machine. It also runs lights in the garage, so I can, and if I want to, actually, I can open and close my garage door, run lights in the garage and the washing machine. So that's what I can do, and I can do more, but that's as far as I've ventured. Okay, and it's not a problem. It cuts down on usage from the grid, which is mostly fed from, you know, gas and oil and that kind of stuff, and that's not good for us. Okay, we need to do something now, and no matter what it is, if you and I can start doing something small now, we can help with the big picture, and that is to get rid of the pollution and maybe do our small part to help with preventing this climate change crisis that's beginning. Anyway, so let me, well, I'm going to show you my system, you know, and one thing I have to say is after I got it's kind of funny, but when you look at your battery supply, you know, when you have a full charge of your battery bank, you don't really want it to go down below 50% because that keeps it healthy. You drain down to 50% if you have to, and then you energize it back up to 100% and back and forth. But going below 50% is not real healthy for the batteries, the deep cycle marine batteries that you need to use. And so when the first day I got my car, I thought I'd say, well, I'm going to see how this works, okay? Now in the past when I've used my batteries, you know, it takes a long time to drain down, and you know, with wash machines, I can wash 4 or 5 loads before it gets down to, you know, 12.4 volts on my battery bank. But you know, rarely do I go below that, and that's using my lights and everything. And so the first day I got home with my car, I said, well, I'm going to just see how this here is going to work on my batteries. I already knew that it wasn't going to work because I knew I didn't have enough to do it, but I thought, well, let me just give it a try, just see what it looks like. And too bad right now I didn't take a video of that because it was kind of funny. But anyway, so because with the charger that comes with the car, you can plug into a 110 and charge your car. You can do that overnight, you know, and then every day when you come in, every morning when you wake up, you come in, your car is charged because it was doing a slow poke charge all night long. Okay, so cool. So I get home and my little inverter, which changes DC to AC, was sitting there, and I turned it on, and I sit there and said, okay, let's see how this works. And so I sit there and plugged the cord into the 110 outlet on my inverter, and then I sit there and watch my voltage. And within 30 seconds, it went from 13.0 volts right down to 12.1, and it was bouncing off of 12.0. And that was within 30 seconds. And I said, whoa! So I said, that's a little too fast. And so I sat there and unplugged it and said, okay, well, now I know what my batteries will do. And excuse my voice. So anyway, that was it, because right then showed me right then and there that I had to wait a little while longer before I could charge my car completely just off solar energy. But it can be done. That's the point. It can be done. So anyway, let me show you my system briefly here, okay? All right. All right, so here's my solar panels, and for the most part, they are facing towards the south, which is how you need to have them. And above, you'll see some trees. But so far, hasn't been a real problem. Every once in a while, I have to trim the branches back, but they're facing towards the south. And so the two directions you really need to have is having your panels facing the south or the west. And if you can have panels that follow the direction of the sun, well, that's even better. But anyway, so I have wires that come out of the back of both panels. Some wires come out of the back of the 150, and you got wires that are coming out of the back of the 45 watts from the Harbor Freight panels. But anyway, both wires come into what's called a combiner box. And right now I got them, there's like a fuse thing inside there, and the wires go into there, and then they combine, and then they come out of the bottom of the box here, and they go over here to a pipe that you'll see that I have coming from underground. And we're looking at the one with the U-joint on it, not the straight one. The straight one's empty right now, but that's for future use. But right now they come into here and they go underground, and they come along here, and they're underground about 6 inches. And excuse the mess here, but they come along through here and come out of this over here next to the fence by the gate, and they come out there and they go under. Let's see if I can get this gate open. Okay, so then you can see where the cables come, and I got them coming along the side of the wall outside here. At the time we weren't able to put the cables into the wall, into the garage from the back side, so I had to use this option right here. And they come along the side of the crack between the sidewalk and the edge of the house. And actually right there in the corner right here, right in the area right there, there's a ground rod which I haven't connected yet to anything, but it's in there just for future use to connect a ground cable to. But anyway, then the cables come in through here underneath the garage, the crack of the garage. And I can't show you a lot of it because I got stuff in the way, but you can see the cables were there, where they go back along, they go back and they go along the wall, and you can see more of the cables right there, and they come back along the wall, and then you see them right there, and then the cables come out behind this box right here, which is kind of a mess right now, but that's where my 5 batteries are. I got a total of 5 109 amp hour batteries. So I got 5, and it's like 500 and whatever, 500 something. Anyway, so there the cables are, and they come up into the charge controller. So this charge controller right there will show you some information about what's being used and all that stuff. But I also connected the original charge controller that I got from Harbor Freight, and I use it to show information also. It's connected directly to the battery. Okay, and so anyway, the energy, the electricity comes into the charge controller, and the charge controller, you know, controls the amount of energy that's coming and going here. Anyway, then it comes down and it goes inside here, and it's connected to batteries. And then I've got the 5 batteries. The cables come out, and you can see the big thick ones right here, right? So then they come up and they're connecting the batteries to the inverter. And this is my inverter right here. Now, I got my inverter and my charge controller and the 150 watt panel that I have in the backyard. I got them from a company called Ameresco, and they're worldwide, and they're mostly, you know, deal with big companies, oil and gas. They provide electrical energy, solar power, because they're that's what they do. They you know, I believe they're into wind also, but what I know about them is the solar panels. And I'll go into more detailed about them later on in another video. But right now, I've dealt with them because I wanted to buy solar panels, and I looked into, you know, going through different solar companies like Missouri Wind and Sun and a couple other ones. But the time and the prices for the solar panels were cheaper, but by the time I factored in, you know, having the stuff, you know, sent by mail and stuff down to my house, it was just as cheap to go to Ameresco, the commercial company, and buy the panels from them. And I bought a few other things. I bought my combiner box from them also. But anyway, so I don't want to ramble on too much about this here, but Ameresco is a good company, and if you're in this area right here, in Tomball, then you can, I'll give you the directions in a little bit, but they're downtown Tomball, and the people there are friendly. People I know are Travis, Paul, and Eric. And Travis is the guy that I deal with mostly. He's very knowledgeable about solar energy and panels and inverters and charge controllers and all that stuff. And he'll help you out with anything. You know, he'll help you calculate your energy needs and what kind of, you know, equipment you need, you know, whether it's small or big. And I really like to give a big shout out to those guys because they've helped me a lot, and they'll be helping me out more in the future. Anyway, I'll give you their directions in a little bit here. So anyway, the energy comes out of this here inverter, which changes your DC power to AC power. AC power is what your house uses. So all the outlets in your house and everything runs off AC. So I can't show you everything because it's covered up, but anyway, if you'll see, this cable right here is supplying energy to my breaker box. Okay? And my breaker box, well, I've got two circuits running out of this here. One of them is going right to here. That's an outlet right there that let me get back here. This here is a little remote device that I have connected to my inverter, okay, and it gets it turns this on, okay. It turns my inverter on, and so when this is on, let me show you right here. The lights go on. Right now, there's all my circuits for my solar are dead. There's nothing going on. But I push that, and you can have this installed inside your house anywhere you want, you know, so you don't have to come out in the garage to turn it on. But right now, I have it right here. So right now, my system in my house, my two circuits are live. I can plug something into right here, and you can plug in a big old fan, a radio, you can plug anything you want into here. It's a regular 110 outlet, just like what you're used to. Okay, so then out of you see where the one circuit is. Now my other circuit is right there, and it comes down, and it goes down to the floor, and then it goes along the wall to the right. And I can't really show you much of it. Maybe you can see the yellow cable down there. It goes back behind this case right here, this shelving system, and then you see right, let me see if I can get this here right. You can see the box right there, and that's where the cable goes into, and that's just like a junction box, okay. And the junction box comes up the wall, and then I got a hole in my wall up here from some damage before. It comes up there, and you see right there where it goes up into the ceiling. It goes up through a hole and now it goes into the attic. And of course I can't show you any pictures in the attic right now, but anyway, so it goes inside there, and there's an outlet in the kitchen I'll show you. And of course I showed you this in a previous video. When I connect my car, well, this has nothing to do with solar, but I connect my car to that. But eventually, I'll have an outlet like this connected to my solar, and so then it'll look like a regular old outlet, and you just plug your charger into that and charge your car up from the solar system. But right now, I'm doing it off of the grid. So anyway, let me just go into the kitchen here and show you how that circuit out there comes out in there. And so I'll see you in just a few seconds here. All right, so here we are inside my kitchen, and what you're seeing right here is my outlet inside the house. It's actually in the kitchen. I have two outlets right there, and of course, you know, the wires come in through the attic and come into there. Now, right now, you can see I have a little device that turns the power on and off from right there. So even if the solar system's turned on out in the garage, unless I have this little light in here turned on, there's nothing coming in here. But anyway, and so if if I sit there and turn this on, then all of a sudden I have electricity, I have lights, and I'll show it to you. So anyway, let me change the direction of this camera, and then I'll show you how this is connected inside here. Okay, so now we have the I have one lamp connected to this, and I have it running up inside the house, and it comes over here to this lamp, and this is the homemade lamp that I built. It's just sitting on top of the cupboards here. But as you can see, you know, it's not a lot of light, not like, you know, what I have in the kitchen regular, but it's sufficient to cook by, to sit there and you know, do things in the kitchen. And plus, you know, this is like for emergencies. Well, I use it all the time unless I really need the light. Plus, you have another open outlet right there, which you can plug your computers in. You can plug a power strip to it, and you know, charge multiple outlets. And also, if you want to, you take a little extension cord, plug it in there, and then you can go over and plug it into your TV, and you got power to your TV. And it's not any different than using a regular, you know, grid-connected electrical outlet. And so that's what you can. That's, you know, that's my solar system. And let's see, what else can we, what else can I tell you? Oh yeah, I was going to give you the directions and you know, where the Amoresco is located at. But anyway, my phone here is running down to 15%, probably a little lower right now, and I need to charge my camera up. So this is a good opportunity to show you my solar system in action. Okay, so as we know right now, there is power coming to my outlet right here because I just turned it on a while ago. Okay, so I'm taking this little, my charger right here and plug it into, it's like a regular, normally I would plug it into, yeah, I can't show you, well, I can show you here, but normally I have this outlet right there, right here, right? Normally I'd plug it into there, but that's using power from the grid. But I want to use power from my solar, so I just take this in here. Really simple, just like you would a regular outlet you're used to. And there you are. Now I'm charging my camera, and it's energy from the sun. Okay. Came into my panels, came to my charge controller, came into my batteries, out to the inverter, to my breaker box that's strictly for solar, and comes into my house and comes into that outlet right there. And the neat thing is that you can, if you're industrious enough or you want to pay somebody to do it, an electrician, you can have this outlet like this here in every room in the house, which I haven't done yet, but you know, you can do it. And you know, the more batteries you have and the more energy coming in from the sun you have, you know, by, you know, the panels, you know, you can do all kinds of things in your house and do multiple things at one time. I can do multiple things at one time too on my little tiny system, but I might run my batteries down a lot faster, just like I did with my car. That was kind of funny. But anyway, okay, so now that you've seen that in action, let me give you the directions and wrap up this little video here. Okay, so to wrap up this video, Amoresco is the company that's been helping me out and building up my system little by little. They'd probably like to see me come there a lot more often, but as it is as it is. They're a good company. The people, Travis, Paul, and Eric, they're all really helpful, and everybody else there too, but you know, Travis is the main guy I deal with, and he's been super friendly with helping me out, so push up to him. And you all go in, you see Eric and Paul and say howdy, and tell them Dave sent you, and talk to Travis, okay? And anyway, so their address is 202 South Live Oak Street, Suite B in Tomball, Texas, and zip code 77375. Okay, they open, I believe it's 9 or 10 o'clock, but anyway, and they close at 5. They're open Monday through Friday, closed on Saturday and Sunday. Phone number is 281-351-0031. And pop in there anytime, and they will take care of your needs, large or small. They are the best. Anyway, so to wrap this up, let's just say that, EVs and solar energy go together, okay? The solar is free energy from the sun. That sun, if it ever quits working, you and I won't be around to complain about it. So it's always there. I've read lots of different, about different ways of creating energy, excuse me, creating energy and things like that. But, the most abundant supply of energy is from the sun. It's always there, and there's so much energy. I mean, in one square yard of, I don't have the numbers with me in my head at the moment, but in 1 square yard of area, you get so much energy, you could supply almost the whole United States with that energy that comes into that. But so just imagine, all the energy that comes and hits the earth at different times of the day. So we've got to do our part, no matter what your beliefs are. If you like living and if you like being in this world, whether you are a believer of God or not a believer of God or somewhere in between, it's all about the same thing when it comes to this. It's about saving our world, okay? The world is a beautiful place to live. Someday we may live some other place, the moon, the Mars, wherever, right? Alpha Centauri or something. But in the meantime, we need to do our part to clean up the mess that we have made. Okay, we need to do our part, and we need to do it now. When I was growing up in the 70s, people knew this in the 70s. They were discovering all this stuff. It was a big awareness, but people procrastinated. And now things have gotten worse. Okay, so we've been slowly developing things, but now we've got the technology, we have the means, the ways, the whole bit. Let's get our act together and start doing it. And we do this by doing, using renewable energies, whether it's wind or geothermal or, hydro, the oceans, the rivers, or solar panels. Let's start doing our part. Let's use that energy instead of using the dirty energy from the grid, okay? Every little bit helps, okay? And when you buy an electric vehicle, you're helping do the same thing. Just like my car, you can get a Leaf, a 2015 Leaf, or earlier you can get it for, $12,000, $10,000. I've been, investigating, what cars are around the Houston area, and you can get them, since the Leafs, you can get them from way back in 2011, 2012, all the way up to now, 2019, the newest ones. But they're cheap, except for the new ones, of course. But the older ones, like mine and older, they're cheap, they're affordable, and you can get them. And if you don't know where to get her, you're too lazy, you can always ask me, And so, let's do our part, okay? Let's drive as much as possible. Let's get electric vehicles and start using them. We don't need to drive these diesel trucks, because that's one of the worst things for our air. We don't need to be driving big trucks and all that stuff that are, 6 feet off the ground and big, huge tires and everything else, and burning out oil and gas to go to the grocery store or go to work, okay? We don't need to do that. It's, when you're young and you're full of, adrenaline and testosterone, and kind of makes you feel, like, you're real macho and all that stuff. Because that's the way we were brought up, okay? That's sociology right there. We were brought up that way, But it's time to change. Okay, it's time to change. So let's do our part. And let's drive electrical vehicles, run EV run. Thank you very much for watching, and over and out.